Success unshared is failure. It was really a unique product. We had a great idea and a great concept. People think, well, how can I change the world? I'm just an individual. I'm not part of a big group. I have no money. Every little person that contributes in making life better for others changes the world.
The people of Sea Shepherd are today's heroes.
We all come into this world with absolutely nothing. But to be able to be on this planet while you're alive and do something with your time or money to make it better because you were here, then you're really making a contribution to planet Earth.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome CEO and co-founder of John Paul Mitchell Systems, Mr. John Paul DeJoria!
When he walked on stage in front of those people, they screamed like he was one of the Beatles.
These are people who are getting ready to go and graduate and go out and look for work in salons.
It was John Paul DeJoria. How do you do, sir?
Excellent. John Paul may not believe he's a mentor, but he's one of the finest mentors.
I've been homeless twice in my life. Today, things have changed. I own several major corporations.
He's kind of like the ultimate rebel billionaire. He's got the ponytail, he rides motorcycles, and he doesn't do anything like other billionaires.
He's an entrepreneur. He's a go-getter.
When I look at him, it's a reminder, like, that's how we're all supposed to be. We're supposed to care for each other. We're supposed to fight for the little guys that are doing the right thing.
He ties everything together, like business, charity, family.
He put everything on the table to start Paul Mitchell.
Charisma, a visionary, a genuine rags to riches story. What makes him go crazy is a combination of those things.
When I was born, this is where my family lived. It was my mother, my brother, and I, and this was downtown LA. In fact, in those days, we had the Iceman coming by, so for 50 cents or a quarter, give you a block of ice. So we had a fish man, a vegetable man. The fish man had a horn. The vegetable man had a ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. So you knew who was coming down the street, and they'd park along the way there. It was a simple kind of life here in downtown Los Angeles, but we thought we had everything. We didn't know any better.
I always had a job, and our goal was we could make enough money, $33 a month, by the way, for our paper route, and we give it to our mom. So it would be a better way of life. My father was a deadbeat dad, and before I was 2 years old, he kind of left my mom, my brother, and I. So he was a deadbeat dad. I've only seen him 3 times in my life, and to the best of my knowledge, he died several years ago.
He was very, very close to his mother. She was just a riot, and she loved to dance.
This is my mother, Yvonne. It was tough for my mom. She worked every single day, and in those days, didn't have anybody to watch us. There were no relatives, nobody around whatsoever.
She got us into a foster home, so Sunday night until Friday after school, we were in a foster home, and on the weekends, we'd see our mom.
His mother was definitely a strong person who taught him how to give and taught him how to share and taught him how to be grateful.
At 6 years old, my mom took my brother and I to downtown Los Angeles. So mom that year gave my brother and I a dime and said, boys, each of you hold this little dime, half and half, and go put it in the man's bucket. We went there and we put it in. Then we said, Mom, why do we give him a dime? That's like 2 big soda pops, 3 candy bars in the early 50s. And Mom said, boys, that's the Salvation Army. And remember, boys, in life, there's always somebody that needs something more than you ever do. And I never forgot that. I know when I went into the United States Navy right after high school and went into active duty, we thought, my God, we could go in the Navy, ride on an aircraft carrier.
Like, they wanted to see the world, and obviously they didn't have the funds to do it, so this was a way for them to kind of, you know, branch out and experience different things in their lives.
It was such a cool thing, and we'd be defending our country, you know. I got out as Vietnam was exploding, so I'm a veteran, but I never was really in action where someone shot at me. A lot of my good friends, unfortunately, passed away in that. I was married at a very young age, 20 years old with a baby on the way. I was a kid, I didn't know any better, nor did my wife. She couldn't handle it. So one day I came home, and as I came and pulled up the driveway, we only had one car, I was walking up the steps to our second floor apartment, and my wife was coming down. She said, "Oh, I've got to run to the store." And she took the keys and kept on going. Well, by the time I got to the front door, she was in the car pulling out the driveway. I opened the front door, and there's my 2.5-year-old son sitting on the floor in a pile of clothes and a note. It was basically, "Can't handle being a mom, too much pressure. He's better off with you. Good luck." So here I am, broke, gonna be kicked out of the apartment with a little kid. That was tough.
He didn't have that down and out attitude. His attitude was, we're gonna get through this and it's gonna be okay.
We found a car that someone loaned us with a broken water pump. I put water in every 4 hours, and we lived in the car for a little while.
I think when we were really young, it's hard to comprehend, those kind of things that, your dad went through or whatnot. So when we got older, we appreciated it more and understood more.
I had 10 different jobs over a period of 3 or 4 years.
Well, he sold encyclopedias, he sold dictaphones, he sold 7 business machines. He's a salesman. He has the personality of a salesman. He's always got a smile, twinkle in his eye.
People throw around the phrase rags to riches a lot, but his story is actually a true rags to riches story. It's incredible, actually.
I met Paul Mitchell in 1971.
Paul Mitchell was an innovator. He had a unique style about him that people loved.
And then in 1979, going to 1980, we talked about starting a business. Paul did not do business, I did not do hair, but we had a great idea and a great concept in really high-end professional beauty products hairdressers would love.
I remember meeting Paul and John Paul and thinking, wow, these guys are amazing.
Together, they were the perfect match because they didn't get in each other's way. It was like a puzzle piece. They just fit right perfectly.
Paul is the hairdresser's hairdresser and John Paul is the salesman's salesman.
What Paul could do in the hairdressing world was unbelievable. What JP could do to manifest this from just this solo hairdresser considered a renegade to then amplifying to this global consumer company, it's magical. And I loved hearing stories back in the day when he worked for a competitive company and they fired him and said he wasn't management material. Oh, Jesus loves me.
Every single week was a risk. We should have gone bankrupt by every business standard. It was very difficult, but we believed in what we were doing.
What John Paul and Paul Mitchell did is they made ready-to-wear hair. He would cut your hair, style your hair, and then you would be able to style your hair that way yourself until your next haircut. It changed the game for the hairdresser. It made him more creative, and it was revolutionizing the beauty industry.
When we started selling Paul Mitchell products to salons, we promised salons that if we ever make it as a company, we will never go to the retail industry like everybody else did. That no matter how big we got, we'd always have those great products on the shelves of hairdressing salons, period. And it started out slowly. Then little by little it took off. As it took off, we kept our same principles.
When he really took off, it didn't stop. It went straight up.
Companies are going to get larger. I don't think either John Paul or myself have one moment's hesitation to say that we both feel that the challenge of making the company the largest company in the industry is the most interesting thing that we've got left to do right now.
I'll never forget the day he came back from Japan doing a hair show. He wasn't feeling well. That's when the doctor said, well, Paul, I don't know how to tell you this, but you have pancreatic cancer and it's stage 4.
I imagine it really hit JP hard, when because he was his partner.
One of the best friends and business partners you can imagine, and the avant-garde hairstylist of all avant-garde hairstylists at the time. Unfortunately, he died of pancreatic cancer back in 1989.
It was his closest friend. It was his partner. It was the man that he built an empire with.
When Paul Mitchell died, everyone said Paul Mitchell's over. But they forgot it was John Paul Mitchell Systems. And JP made a promise at the grave. He said, everyone will know Paul's name. And he kept his word.
Professional hair care means only one thing: Paul Mitchell.
Paul Mitchell Systems was just starting to rise, and now it was all on him. But then he made it a point to take care of Paul Mitchell's son, Angus, who has remained a really integral part of the whole association.
I took over both roles of the company as the spokesperson for the company as well as the CEO of the company.
He got into television, he got into sports marketing, he got the company much more involved on the image side to the consumer.
There are so many products, I don't know what to buy.
He had Meryl Hemingway before me, you know, as the spokeswoman for Paul Mitchell, and I was just honored. I was like, no kidding, I'm with the man that my true love, which is unbelievable guy, and I get the best job in the world.
Most people develop a product or a service, they could sell it. Well, that's great. But you look at it as if you develop it where it's so good, people want to reorder it. That's your longevity in business.
It was just like, wow, you just fell into an amazing, you know, opportunity and it blew up.
So they said, well, throw us out a figure. I said, well, I really don't want to sell, but it'd have to be over $5 billion valuation on the company. So I can't help everybody out, but I help, I think, more than enough in my share. I think every business should do something to make their community, their state, their country, and the world better off because they are here. Every time you do something for somebody else, especially groups of people, and ask nothing in return, you get one of the biggest rushes and biggest highs you can imagine. I have enough to take care of myself and my family and my children's children's children. But I also have enough to make some major changes on this planet. I'm a firm believer in faith, especially from the heart. Not just your thinking, but what you feel in your heart. When I started John Paul Mitchell Systems, I had worked for other companies previously. And one of the companies had a bunch of little marmosets in a room, actually no bigger than this room, a whole bunch of them in little cages that they were testing on. And I wanted to take them outside for a walk. They wouldn't even let them see the outside. And they said, no, you can't do that. I said, why are we testing on these? Well, it makes us look a little better if we test on animals. I said, that's stupid.
Everyone was talking scientific differences and you had to test on animals, and John Paul said, no way. I mean, that's brave. When you thumb your nose at the establishment, you do your own path. It's pretty, I don't want to say ballsy, but that's ballsy, man.
My father's always been an environmentalist. He thinks it's very important. We've always known our entire lives that Paul Mitchell was never tested on animals. In fact, we tested out a lot of the products, the perms, the colors, the shampoos.
When you look at John Paul Mitchell Systems, we are extremely environmental, animal, and human friendly.
Shampoo is shampoo. What makes us different? It's about doing the right thing, your fiscal responsibility, giving back, keeping a lesser footprint on the planet.
They're talking about emissions, carbon emissions everywhere, and there are. Well, why couldn't whatever you do or whatever you're involved in offset those emissions? We have something at Paul Mitchell called tea tree shampoo and conditioner, all kinds of great products for your hair. However, what a lot of people don't realize is every single bit of carbon that is ever used, we've already planted over 500,000 trees to offset it.
I think there's definitely a global shift towards people recognizing that defining success purely in terms of the two metrics of money and power is like a two-legged stool. You cannot sit on it for too long. Sooner or later, you will topple over.
The money is not the main thing in John's life. It's what good can you do with it, and how can you help?
Ever since I was able to make ends meet and pay my bills in time with Paul Mitchell, no matter what I did, philanthropy was part of it.
His vehicle is his business to give back. A lot of people miss that. They just see a pile of cash. He looks at everything with a philanthropic eye, no matter what it is.
You know, my father used to say that some men see things as they are and ask why, and I see things that never were and ask why not. Well, that fits JP better than anybody that I've ever met. He'll ask the question, why don't we do this? And everybody will say, well, that because it sounds crazy and insane and nobody's ever done it before. And that, for him, is a reason to try it.
Patron was started virtually with very, very little money. And it was a company that was never supposed to happen. We were never, once we got going, ever supposed to ever sell 20,000 cases even a year. Never. But it did. It was that good.
They said, look, we can make a better, smoother, premium tequila. And sure enough, it worked.
It was really high-end and expensive to make. We brought it back to the United States here, best you could ever have.
Yeah, if you said tequila, people went, ooh. You said Patron, now it's like, well, look, he created a whole niche market.
He invented high-end tequila. There were no other high-end tequilas before John Paul.
In 1980, the average tequila was about $5. The really good stuff was $14. We had to sell Patron for $37. Nobody would take us on. That's how we got started.
It is kind of a symbol of luxurious enjoyment.
And when people started drinking it, it crossed all lines of color, race, creed, you name it, it crossed all lines.
You know, I don't really drink tequila because I had a bad experience once with the Technicolor Mule in Tijuana. He said, well, this is not like any tequila you ever had.
For the little company that was never supposed to do 20,000 cases, we did far more than 3 million cases a year and became the largest by dollar volume, I believe, tequila company in the world.
Patron was like icing on the cake. You know what I mean? It was just like, wow, you just fell into an amazing, opportunity, and it blew up, and even bigger than Paul Mitchell.
So as time went on, I was asked, JP, would you like to sell Patron? I said, I have no really motivation to sell it right now. So they said, well, throw us out a figure. I said, well, I really don't want to sell, but it'd have to be over $5 billion valuation on the company.
$5.1 billion is the deal value that Dow Jones is currently reporting, according to headlines that are crossing the wire.
Privately held Bacardi is buying Patron Spirits International.
Patron is top shelf, that's for sure.
He's really looking to change the world with this money and making a big difference.
So what I did was, when I got the money, I immediately wrote a check for $50 million to philanthropy, to help the world become a better place to live. The rest I put away where it couldn't be touched for 6 months to a year. So I could have plenty of time to think of where I may want to put it, what I think I may want to do with it. Obviously, a huge percentage going to changing the world.
I was impressed by him when I realized how remarkably aware he is of so many different aspects globally.
So I know what it's like to have absolutely nothing and be homeless and go through the struggle to make it.
Chrysalis is a group in Los Angeles where I was homeless twice. I know back in around 2010, 2011, we had about 3,000 homeless people, men and women alike, on Skid Row. Out of the 3,000 people that came to Chrysalis, they're all homeless now, and no one could find a job anywhere, supposedly. 1,600 were employed.
John Paul's personal story is so compelling, and he's got a connection to our clients. He can relate to our clients.
Well, I look forward to you ringing the bell one day, huh?
Oh, absolutely.
When it comes to philanthropy, many people have different philosophies. Mine is, with the exception of a few emergencies, invest in something that is sustainable.
I'm here today to see the progress of what we've been doing. I believe don't just give money, but show up and see what is going on and participate.
JP always looks at any project that he does with a philanthropic attitude. How does this particular effort help a lot of people?
I'm a member of the Giving Pledge.
Warren Buffett's.
Yeah, Warren Buffett's Giving Pledge. There are about 100 of us in the world right now, and we've all said that after we die, about half the money that we make is going to make the world a better place to live.
And we all see the big multi-million-dollar gifts that he gives, but beyond that, when he hears about somebody or there's a family or friend, he is so giving behind the scenes. He's just naturally generous.
The best way I can describe my dad is he makes choices that are good for others. He makes choices that his kids will be proud of.
I was impressed by him, and more as time went on when I realized how remarkably aware he is of so many different aspects globally that are in need of help.
Private philanthropy does much more to change the world. Not the governments don't mean well, but they play this stupid political thing back and forth so they look good or they can negotiate with another country. We don't, we just go for it.
My dad happens to be a person that lives giving back.
We are one of the biggest supporters of the Sea Shepherd.
A lot of rich people just sign checks, which is very necessary and it is a big part of the equation.
They take care of whales and dolphins and sharks and even baby harp seals to prevent mankind from destroying these beautiful creatures.
Giving of your time and giving of your energy for things you believe in are some ways more important because it drives a bigger machine.
Warning, warning, warning. Quit poaching whales.
What the Sea Shepherd does is they walk the walk and they take action and do something.
You'll have to sink me right here next to the Sun Laurel. I will not move.
If it wasn't for the Sea Shepherd and private philanthropy, I have a feeling that all the whales would be dead right now. Half the dolphins would be gone and our world would be in terrible shape.
In supporting them, whether it's physically or whether it's monetarily, they're out there to do something good to save this planet for future generations and keep the ecosystem as we know it today.
He goes on the Sea Shepherd. He walks out in front of the spears, and it's nothing he would ever talk about or boast about because that's not why he does it. It's just a part of his ongoing life.
Just to let you know that he has a heart that is truly gold.
So you got a $100,000 check that I'll give you.
All right.
You know, from our Peace, Love, and Happiness Foundation, okay?
His life of sharing is a legacy to every one of us.
And a lot of people sort of forget their beginnings or their experiences, but he seems very connected with them. And I think a lot of his empathy and compassion and desire to make a difference in the world comes from that.
Let's all pitch in and do it so everyone has a better life. Peace, love, and happiness.
We're involved with over 150 different organizations. I spent a lot of money, went to the millions, to get Grow Appalachia going. I believe today over 40,000 people eat off those gardens.
We're still building houses in New Orleans at the St. Bernard Project left over from Katrina.
Peace, Love, and Happiness is a fundraiser. Every dollar that comes in that people pay to be part of the lunch, part of the concert, part of the ride, all the money goes to the first responders.
We make money, but we give it all away with John Paul Pet. I started that a few years ago with a partner, and every dime we get, we put right into pet programs. That puts us way over $10 billion in value. More money to give away and help the world with. Yay!
That's exciting, right?
People think, well, how can I change the world? I'm just an individual. I'm not part of a big group. I have no money. Every little person that contributes for their personality or their time or just their thought pattern in making life better for others changes the world.
God, I get to work with geniuses. I can't stand it. More geniuses. Geniuses everywhere. Look at this.
The majority of my life, I've been a very positive person. It's nothing I have to think about. I just am. I'm very fortunate in that area.
And growing up, that was a question I got all the time. Is he really like that behind closed doors? What's he really like? What's it like to be John Paul's daughter? He, honest to God, is absolutely just like that.
My dad has this uncanny ability to always have fun with everything he's doing, whether it's business related or not. He's always doing fun stuff.
The uniqueness of JP is his attitude. I mean, is his ability to share and to give. It's unique.
Everything he looks at is with a purposeful eye, and 31 years it hasn't changed. It's how he sees the world.
He's been able to just like level the playing field. Everybody's equal. Everybody's the same.
He's a high vibration individual. You know, his atoms are racing at a speed a lot higher than ours.
Well, look who's here.
JP is a template for the notion that you can do well for yourself by doing good things for other people.
He's the kind of guy that you always feel like he knows where he came from, and he's very humble because of that.
It's amazing. We've been blessed, and we know it. And Johnny knows it better than anyone, that this didn't just happen by accident. He's blessed for a reason, and it's his heart.
Always giving back, though, no matter what, position you're in. It's so important to give back. Success unshared is failure.
In the end, everything will be okay. And if it's not okay, it's not the end.
It's not where you are today and how much money you have or what kind of a big position you have. Success is, are you the best at what you do?
His attitude is, you can build a pile, but then you give it away. By giving it away, you make your pile bigger.
Success unshared is failure. You may not have a lot of money, but do you do something to help somebody else out? That's success.